guys, Larissa with BeCozi.net is here. Today I would like to show you how to make this new pattern. The pattern name is double seed stitch. So I showed you how to make a seed stitch in my previous videos. This one will be double stitch. So we will be alternating knitting and purling stitch, and it will look really nice and beautiful like this blanket. So this blanket is a baby size. I used only 2 skeins of BeCozi chunky chenille just to show you how to do it. And if you want to make something bigger, you will need to purchase this yarn at BeCozi.net. This is our coral color. I thought it will be really nice to show you in this bright, beautiful spring-like color. So 2 skeins for a small baby blanket. For a throw that will be 30 by 50, enough to cover you from the toes to your waist area when you're sitting on the couch, you will need 5 skeins. For a medium size, and I have medium size here, it's a size 40 by 60. This is pretty big blanket. You will need 7 skeins. And this is a different pattern. It's a double rib. You can find it in one of our videos. We have 120 videos on YouTube. Don't forget to sign up for our YouTube channel. You will be receiving all our new videos every week. We have over 120 videos showing how to hand knit. So if you're ready and have the yarn, let's get started. Okay guys, let's get started. We will be using this beautiful coral color. You can find it on BeCozi.net. It's really spring looking color. That's why I selected for today's tutorial. We will be using 2 skeins just for a little baby blanket as a sample. If you need to make a lapse row 30 by 50, you will need 5 skeins. And for medium size, you will need 7. Medium size is 40 by 60. It's enough to cover a medium-sized person from toes to neck. So let's start. Let's find the end of the yarn. And now we will make a knot on this end. I'm making a knot to prevent yarn from unraveling. It's usually not unraveling, but when you're using it or when you're washing it, it might start unraveling. So I'm making a knot and then cut it close to the knot, and this will be our tail. This is our working yarn, and you place it in front of you this way. And then you place the working yarn on the top of the tail. Now insert your hand inside, grab working yarn and pull it out. This is our first stitch, and now we will be making 13 stitches, guys. Okay, so for making a chain of 13 stitches, we will be inserting our right hand inside the loop, the first stitch, grabbing working yarn and pull it out. See, we now have 2 stitches. They're the same size approximately, and now with the left hand you are holding the last stitch. Insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out. We have 3 stitches, and keep moving your left hand to hold the stitch, and then inserting your right hand and making a stitch approximately the same size. And we will start, as I said, with 13 stitches for a small baby blanket, or just a sample to show you how to make this pattern. Let's count the stitches that we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We can keep it 12. It will be easier 12 because we will have a pattern 2 by 2. So what we do now, we are turning our chain on another side like that, and now we will start knitting our first row. So this is our first stitch. We will not be knitting it, it's already here. Now we will be using these knots in the middle, and how we will do it. We will lift the knot with your left hand, insert your right hand or fingers, grab working yarn and pull it out. The same with all the next stitches. Lift the middle part of the stitch, insert your right hand, grab working yarn and pull it out. This way we are pulling out our first row, and when it's out, then in the next row we will start our pattern. We do not usually start the pattern in the row that is pulled out. So here we are. We have our first row pulled out. The reason we were using those knots in the middle, we now have this beautiful chain on the bottom. You can use any part of the stitch to pull out the first row, but only if you're using the middle part of the stitch, you will have this beautiful chain on the bottom. So now, next row, we are starting with 2 knitting stitches. Insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out. Next stitch, insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out. We have 2 knitted stitches. Now, next 2 will be purled stitches. For purling, the working yarn goes from the back up front. You're grabbing the stitch and pushing the yarn through. So, 1 purl stitch and 2 purl stitches. Now we are knitting 2 stitches again. 1, 2, and we are purling 2 next ones. Again, 2 knit, 2 purl. That was our first row, guys, of our pattern. 2 knit, 2 purl. Now what we're doing next, the next row, we are just repeating all the stitches the way we did it in the first row. So these guys are purled, so we are purling them again. The working yarn is on the top of the stitch, and then you're just pushing it through. Then 2 knitted stitches, you see they look like a chain. Insert your fingers, grab working yarn and pull it out. Next, 2 purled. Take a stitch, push the yarn through, take a stitch, push the yarn through. Now keep doing this way until you're done with the whole row. Here you are. We did 2 rows, 1, 2, not counting our pulled out row, and now we will alternate. So if these 2 guys were knitted, now we will be purling them, and these 2 purled ones we will be knitting. So the working yarn goes on the top for purling. Take the stitch and push the yarn through. 1 purl stitch, 2 purl stitches. Next 2 purl stitches will become knitted. Knit, knit. These guys were knitted, we will be purling. Purl, purl. See what we're doing? We are alternating 2 stitches knitted with 2 purled for 2 rows. So here's our 2 last stitches. For this pattern, I am not skipping my first stitch as I usually do. And if you want to do it, you can still do it. You will just need 1 extra stitch on both sides. So if we're using 12 stitches, then it will be 14, and the last stitch you will be skipping. Then you will have this beautiful chain on the sides. So now we are doing the same pattern for the next row. Knitting, purling. So it's 2 stitches and 2 rows, guys. Remember? Here we are. So we now have, it's a kind of forming pattern. You can see that we did 2 rows with 2 knit, 2 purl, and then we alternated and this two pearl came over here. So we now have this beautiful pattern, and I will keep doing the same way. Now I will start with knitting, and then when I'm done with the whole skein, I will come back and I will show you how to connect the skein. Okay guys, so I used one skein. You can see this beautiful pattern forming, and now I'm out of the yarn. So to connect another skein, I will use a very simple, very fast way to do it. It's just a simple knot. So here is the two ends. We're making a simple knot and then tighten it from both sides like that until you feel that the knot moving like this. Now take scissors and cut this tails close to the knot. That's all. Fast, easy, hardly noticeable. You see, you cannot really notice or feel it at this point. So, and now we will continue our pattern. As you can see, I keep alternating knitted two purled for 2 rows, and then switch the stitches. And we will keep doing this way until I'm done with the whole second skein. It will be small baby blanket and a sample to show you, and then I'll be back. Okay guys, so we are done with our 2 skeins. This is the size of our blanket. It's a small blanket for your child or grandchild. It will take you like 15-20 minutes to make it. It's a beautiful pattern, and now we will be casting off. For casting off, you need to leave 3 widths of the blanket, 1, 2, 3, and that will be enough to cast off. For casting off, we will be placing the yarn on the back, and now we will be taking 2 stitches together and then grab working yarn and pull it through these 2 stitches. Now you have one, add the second one, grab working yarn, pull it through. See, we have this beautiful chain forming here, and we will keep doing the same way until we have all stitches knitted one at a time. So you have one, add the second one, and then knit 2 together. Make sure do not skip any stitches, not to skip any, because they are yarn is fluffy and you can easily skip one, like this one. See, it's kind of hiding inside. Make sure you are knitting it. So 2 last stitches, guys. I'm working yarn going through, and we just finished our blanket. This is the last stitch that we have left. Let's make a knot on the end of the yarn and cut the tail and have this little knot on the end, and then this working yarn goes inside the last stitch, and then you pull it gently and we are done. So now we will just weave in this end. We will go underneath this beautiful chain, underneath from here and then back, or you can just cut that piece, it's up to you. But if you don't want to cut, you can just weave it in on the back like that. See, you cannot really see where it is, and our blanket is done. See how beautiful this pattern is. These little bumps of 2 purl stitches, really nice. So as I said, for this baby blanket you will need 2 skeins of our coral color chunky chenille at BeCozi.net. For a bigger blanket, small lapse row 30 by 50, you will need 5, and for medium size 7 skeins. So you can find them at BeCozi.net. Stay home and be cozy.